Good morning and welcome to day 54. I feel like I'm actually potentially going insane or having like a full blown mental health crisis. And the irony of it is I kind of feel like I've fixed my life in 99 out of 100 of the dimensions that I really wanted to move forward on, that there in all 99 of those I'm trudging forward and making like huge strides and progress, and I'm feeling really good about it. But now that there's just one where I feel helpless and incapable of making, achieving meaningful results, it's like I'm myopically focused so much on it that I feel like a fucking insane person. I feel like I'm just going crazy. It's all I can think about. It's all I can focus on. It's completely overtaken my life. And that one thing that I feel really helpless to take control of right now is this goddamn excruciating back pain. And it's so funny because the back pain has been there for 5 years. There was just all of these other problems layered on top of it and around it and, exacerbating it and causing it. And I had so much to figure out that it was just kind of ignored, I guess. It's hard for me to really explain exactly what's happening because it's so weird. But now that I really feel good about everything else that I'm doing, I'm just left with this one nagging thing that is kind of pervading through every moment of my day, my sleep, when I wake up in the morning, when I want to journal. And now that I've somehow, through the events of the last few months, been able to let go of all of this self-doubt and guilt and shame and self-punishment that I was just harboring and deploying against everything that I was trying to do. Now that I've let go of that a little bit and realized hey, no, this pain is actually central to everything, central to holding you back and everything you're doing, it's just become a glaring, obvious, constant tax on my system. And the frustration of it is I really do feel kind of helpless to it. I'm doing so much. I'm stretching, I'm hanging, I'm doing pull-ups, all with these tiny incremental temporary improvements in it. I'm standing and biking and I'm sitting in an infrared sauna for sometimes 15 to even 45 minutes a day, and I'm getting infrared light. I'm going to physical therapy for a couple hours once a week and just totally focusing on decompressing and strengthening this one area. And yet every morning, the very first thing that starts my day is having to muster up the willpower to sit up through just crushing, debilitating, intense, throbbing, aching pain. And I've just realized, that I guess it's not realization. I'm just really frustrated with the complexity of this, and the only answer is to get outside knowledge, get people smarter than me on the equation, get them hunting it down. I just requested all my records from my previous doctor to be sent to this new doctor that I'm seeing on the 15th, and I'm probably gonna start hitting up people on YouTube or have good articles online and ask to speak with them on a podcast to selfishly solve my problem, but also selflessly to get the information out there, because I'm searching for it. I'm looking for it hard. I'm going to revisit Dr. Eric Goodman's book about strengthening the posterior chain. I utilized his knowledge a lot prior to my injury prior to my spinal cord injury due to a rotated pelvis and some lower back injuries that I had suffered when I was in my teens. And his methods really, really helped. The reason I haven't really dived into them too much post-injury is just because all of the ones that really helped me prior to spinal cord injury were very much involving the legs and the whole posterior chain and strengthening everything. But what I'm going to do is take the knowledge and just rework it and re-improvise it and whatever it's called. I'm kind of losing my train of thought in the heat right now, but going to remaster it, whatever the fuck I want to call it, to fit into the context of doing it without the use of your legs and in spinal cord injury, and just kind of take the foundational principles to his foundation training, which is what it's called, and see which one of those I can take into an adaptive version of the training. And yeah, that's the only thing that I'm going to kind of add to my own personal repertoire. Other than that, I'm going to offload the responsibility of solving this to smarter people, a portion of the responsibility of solving it. I'm going to go out and seek information from people way more knowledgeable than myself, give them the problem, and say, please, can you help me solve this? Because it is at this particular moment, day 54, kind of day 50, through, I imagine, day whatever. It could be day 60, it could be day 180. This is the crux of the climb to the top of the mountain that I have to figure out at the moment. So yeah, that's it for this little update. I will see you in just a millisecond on your timeline, and who knows how long on my timeline, because I'm starting to hit that panic feeling inside the sauna, and I'm definitely hitting it way faster than normal because I'm talking so much and not allowing myself to do some nice deep breathing. So time for some breath work. Hundreds, thousands, millions, whatever, little promises that you keep to yourself, stacked on top of each other. That's where self-esteem comes from. At least that is the theory put forth on the Modern Wisdom podcast by Chris Williamson in his interview with Rich Roll that I listened to a few days ago, and I'm really taking it to heart and keeping all of those little promises. That's what the pull-up challenge is about, and what I really need to work on, the promises that I don't keep that are most impacting me right now, are little cheats outside of my noon to 8 eating window, but it's always in the morning, and it comes from it stems from the back pain. I'm just so overwhelmed and exhausted and tired from not sleeping. I just want, that little dopamine snack, and nothing crazy or anything, a bit of a beef stick or something. But yeah, it does erode your self-belief. And the other promise that I am failing miserably to keep myself is bedtime. I've been failing to keep that promise for 30 years now. Maybe not quite that long. I didn't really choose my bedtime when I was a little kid, but let's say a full 2 decades, 20 years. Every day that I wake up, any day that I wake up even a little bit tired, the first thing I think to myself is, tonight I'm gonna go to bed earlier. And I absolutely almost never do it. It's like 1 out of 1,000 times that I make that promise do I actually keep it to myself. And it's because I love the evening times. I love nighttime, but not just for productivity, for happiness, for energy throughout the day. I need to wake up before sunrise, and in order to get the sleep that compounds into health, happiness, and abundant energy, I have to go to bed before 9 p.m. or before 9:30 p.m., let's say. And I just never make that happen. And then that sometimes compounds into breaking another promise to myself. when I'm going to wake up, because getting adequate amount of sleep is just super essential for me at this point in my life and at my age, and with all the back stuff that I have, the pain and stuff I have going on, I just, I feel really compromised. I already feel super compromised exhaustion wise, but if I force myself to get up super early, and I always think I'll force myself. I said it on here a couple days ago when I woke up at 1 a.m. and I was like, now I'm going to be really tired when it gets to be bedtime, and I'll go to bed early and I'll start a good cycle. But I didn't. I went to bed at like 11:30, and I don't know why. It's because I have this massive surge of like creative and good energy from like 5 p.m. to 9, 10 p.m. I just feel super energized and good at that time. And I'm the most tired from like 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Like, so maybe the long-term answer is I'm just a nap guy. Maybe I need to get a nap in every afternoon, but that is just, fuck, that's, we're going to talk about impossible. It's stopping my momentum in the middle of the day and just taking the time to nap. That is so difficult for me, and also not conducive to my schedule, my work schedule, or anything I've got going on whatsoever. That would be, it's a non-option at this exact point in time, but long term, going forward, maybe curating and designing my life so that I can take a 1 to 2 hour naps in the afternoon is how I get those, whatever it is, 35 sleep cycles per week. But we'll see, work in progress. All I know is I am going to get much more disciplined on the little promises, the noon to 8 eating window, and the going to sleep and waking up at precise times, at least for the rest of this challenge. I'm not so dogmatic that I am putting the pressure on myself to do that forever, but I want to absolutely test my maximum capacity during these 180 days. That's what it's really about. What does your life look like when you do everything right for 180 days straight without compromise? That's the idea. There's always little compromises in there to build up to, steadfast discipline, but I'm really gonna eliminate the critical compromises. The sleep and wake time and my eating window are going to be gospel and unbroken for the rest of this challenge, and my pull-ups. But that's it. Just a little food for thought. Throw in there. Keep those little promises to yourself. They do mean everything. It's when no one else is looking and no one else cares that it's the most important. I'm, compromised enough in my self-relationship that this helps me, even though no one out there on the other side of the screen is holding my feet to the fire and, criticizing my little broken promises to myself. Putting it out there and making it public helps me have accountability inside myself. It's one thing, to make a promise inside your head and then just break it and no one knows. But it's another thing to say, hey, I've made this promise to myself and now I'm going to stick with it, publicly declare it. And, it just, even though the accountability is imaginary, it definitely helps me. And so publicly declaring it, I'm going to nail the noon to 8 eating window, no compromises. I'm gonna go to bed before 9:30 with some good sleep hygiene, and I'm gonna wake up at 6 a.m. Between 5:30 and 6:30 a.m. That's the optimum time for me, is sometime in that window, and I'll adjust it a little bit if I spend too much time awake at night in excruciating back pain. I'll give myself the leeway that I won't mentally punish myself if it's after or before 6:30 a.m. But anyways, I'm driving in to sell some health insurance. It is definitely going to be a tough day motivation-wise for me. As I described in the sauna in great detail, the nagging, pervasive, consistent lower back pain is just grating at me. I don't know why it's so much. Well, I do know why. I explained why. It's so much more annoying than it normally is. There's my own kind of stupidity or ignorance or even toughness that or pain tolerance that, well, not even that. I was just in the truth is I was just in so much mental, emotional, and spiritual pain all of the time, caused by not confronting and working through some traumas and just reframing my perspective. I was in so much different types of pain that the back pain just was kind of put to the side. It seemed more bearable and tolerable when it was contrasted with just crushing emotional distress 24/7. And now that I've, by the grace of God and just pure kind of luck almost, and a lot of work, but a lot of luck as well, able to relieve myself of some of that emotional and spiritual distress that I was accidentally causing. Now I'm just left with this, and it's terrible. I just want to get rid of it so bad. Physical pain is it's not great. But gonna go sell some health insurance, get a workout in, and live my best life. This version of my best life. But we'll see you soon. Woo! Objectively, super shitty day. So I sell health insurance. I'm a health insurance agent, and how I get new business is people put inquiries in online. I call them. I ask if they, they want help reviewing all the different plans, and try to find them a plan that suits their needs and desires and budget. So that's what I spend most of every day doing. But today I also come with the lifetime of the policy. I'm your agent. You call me, and with any problems or concerns, we sort it out and go through it. And I'd had more customer service calls today than I have had basically the entire rest of the time I've been an insurance agent. So I just spent all day on the phone, changing plans around, switching stuff up, changing payment information, just bullshit, boring things that don't make me any more money than I had before. So just kind of felt like a wasteful day. I didn't even get a workout in, didn't make it down to the gym, just because all of these little calls kind of just got scheduled, stacked on top of each other. Had one appointment for someone, basically just ended up coaching them on, it was a nice older lady from Michigan, just basically spent 30 minutes coaching her on how to sign up for Medicaid, because she was way outside of the income level where you would even be able to pay for insurance. But that's fine, pay it forward. as they say. But yeah, no, nothing super, introspective or exciting. I appreciate the hell out of anyone who's made it this far in the video and, it takes their time out of their day to watch the things that I enjoy creating. I saw that I had 194 subscribers as of today, which I'm super proud of and stoked that many people would want to tune in and listen to the things I'm saying and watch the things that I'm doing. Yeah, just grateful and excited. I really do have conviction that I don't know, that I have something unique to share in the realm of human optimization and healing. I really have. I started from the bottom as far as an actualized human. I was an immoral, asshole, piece of shit, selfish, narcissistic person for the vast majority of the time that I've been alive. But that wasn't, I thought for many years that I was that way because I was just innately a bad person. I was born evil. I didn't actually think at the time that I was evil because I justified everything I was doing in intricate ways. But I did, naturally tend towards destructive behaviors in relationships and just in general in life. And I thought it was because I was just born that way. I was born bad. But through writing a book and chronicling my writing a memoir and chronicling my entire life, I came to realize, no, that idea was actually seeded inside me in response to a traumatic sexual experience. It wasn't an experience that I thought was sexual when I was 5 years old or something, and it just filled me with guilt and shame. And it wasn't even big T trauma. It was just a misunderstanding of something that happened and a misinterpretation that I thought I had done something bad or terrible. If anyone knew that I had done this, that I would no longer be loved. And I went out into the world with that idea, with this idea that there was something innately flawed in me that wasn't worth loving. And that basically transpired into 25 plus years of terrible behavior because I knew, or I had been incepted deep inside my brain, that if anyone ever truly knew me, they wouldn't love me. And because of that, all bets are off. All things were justified. It didn't matter if I stole or lied or cheated or did whatever, because I already had this secret life that and all of this is, I didn't know any of this back then. This was what I realized over time. And from the time I realized that, a couple years ago when I wrote this memoir, to the time I was able to actually work through it and see the full web of, kind of deceit of my own mind that I had created, and start to, prune the garden of my mind. This was a seed that was planted, and it just grew rampant throughout my mind and created basically a whole mess of, what is it called? Invasive species, invasive thoughts and beliefs inside of me. And, it took years to even know that they were there. It took, 29 years to even realize that, they were, all of these invasive species of thoughts were in, my mind garden, for lack of a better analogy. And then it took, chopping at them and figuring out. It took a long time to figure out how to actually kill all of those, invasive, destructive plants, for the sake of our analogy. And yeah, now I've finally figured out that really that journey takes forever. You have to, prune and tend the garden and, make sure that the keystone species of self-esteem and belief and love and gratitude, those are the species you nurture, and you constantly prune out and kill and burn and get rid of all of the self-doubt and the fear. The fear is the main thing. The fear of not being worthy of love translates into fear of everything. It spreads into a million different types of fear plants. And I didn't even know that I would kind of categorize myself as courageous compared to the average person before, like back in the day, in terms of risk, super high risk endeavors, whatever, doing dangerous sports, or I always had, being alone out in the mountains or in the wilds of Africa, where there's lots of, quite a few dangerous creatures to contend with. But it wasn't real courage. It was a constant pursuit of dangerous things to prove to myself that I was courageous. I had all of this fear inside me, this suppressed, hidden fear, and fear of what people think, fear that I wasn't worthy of being loved, fear that I, wouldn't be accepted, fear of judgment, and fear that I wouldn't achieve what I was going to achieve, fear of my family or my parents dying and that I wouldn't have enough time with them, fear that I wouldn't be able to give back to them in the way that they, gave to me throughout my whole childhood. I had all of this fear that I was suppressing and hiding and pretending like it didn't exist. And because I had all this deep fear inside me, but I wanted to be a brave and courageous, person and man, I proved that I was to myself by just, constantly participating in high risk activities and, always being the one that would risk it in any situation, whether it was to help another person or whatever. And so it's just interesting how things come full circle. You realize, hopefully you realize someday, hopefully you have the desire to really dig down deep and figure out why your thoughts are your thoughts, why your actions are your actions, why are you actually doing the things you're doing, making the choices you make, especially when the choices you make aren't the choices that align with who you want to be. I always was so fucking perplexed why, I had a vision of who I wanted to be as a man, as a father, as a family member, as a brother, as a friend, and then I would make choices that were directly in opposition with actually being that person. And that goes with fitness and diet and everything. And I always wondered, why is it it's like there's a demon living inside me, taking control of my mind and seeking out these super negative, destructive, fucked up behaviors that just wreak havoc on my life and my relationships. And lo and behold, there was a demon living inside me, but that demon
was fear. It was suppressed, traumatic experience. It was, trauma's in the eyes of the beholder. It's what, it's perception. I would say that I was quite literally emotionally traumatized by just having to live in society. It was fucking traumatizing me. The idea of going to school and working and having a job and living in a fucking suburban neighborhood and with a white picket fence, like the idea of that traumatized me as a child. I found it to be the most fearful, fucked up, weird, and like disassociative thing ever. I wanted to be in the wild, in the woods, living with my family and friends, building stuff, hunting, and the idea of not being available, because for most of my life I was told that was impossible. I was told that isn't available. You can't just go live in the wild and in a tribe. Realistically, it is very close to impossible, but I was told that, and the fact that I couldn't have that and was thinking that I may be subjected to a lifetime of monotonous working for material things, like that actually traumatized me. And is that real trauma? I don't know. It fucked me up for sure, and that's why I'm saying it's in the eyes of the beholder. It doesn't matter what happens to you. It matters how you perceive the things that are happening to you. And if you perceive them as something outside of yourself controlling your circumstances and sentencing you to misery and unhappiness, it certainly feels like trauma. So yeah, suppressing all of that, and so suppressing, trying to suppress the fear that was seated inside me from this weird pseudo-sexual experience that I had as a kid that made me think I was a sinner or bad. The crazy thing is I didn't have like super religious parents. Like, I didn't even have like an intense indoctrination. My parents are like the most loving, understanding, open, hippie type people ever. They don't judge anyone for anything. They don't give a single fuck. They're so amazing and open and understanding of the human condition. It's insane. I didn't even know race. I thought racism had died because I'm from Idaho, where there's no other races really. There's a small amount of like Hispanic people that live in a certain area of Boise where I grew up, but there was very few people that weren't Anglo-Saxon white people. And so I didn't see racism directly. I heard racist people talking, but I thought they were joking. I didn't think people actually disliked other races or gay people or anyone, because my parents were so the antithesis of that. They really had love for every single person, irregardless of anything. And so for that reason, it's crazy that I even felt so like I felt like love would be taken away from me, because it was so obvious from an adult mind that never would have happened. But it doesn't matter. The fear was still seated inside my soul, and by just being who I am and being the type of person that doesn't open up traditionally for the most of the rest of my life, doesn't open up about anything, doesn't show vulnerability especially to other men in any way. Try not to show emotional vulnerabilities to other men in any way for most of my life, because I just thought that was the way that I was supposed to be. I thought that was what it meant to be manly. Because I didn't do that, and I never I never lucked into a guide or a mentor that was able to tell me that vulnerability is in fact the most manly thing. Like being so sure of yourself and so confident in what you believe, what you think, and your purpose, and being steadfast in your values and who you are, being so sure of all that you're able to communicate your truth clearly and show your weaknesses. You have so much strength that you're able to show your weaknesses. That's real manliness. That's real, human. It doesn't, I'm a man, so I talk about it being manliness, but it's the same. Well, I can't speak to it. I'm not a woman. I don't know how women feel or think. They're undoubtedly one of the greatest mysteries in the world. So I'm not going to speak to that, but I'm just saying real masculine. There's a better word. Real masculinity. There we go. Is, being able to be vulnerable because you are confident in who you are at the core. And I never was that for the vast majority of my life. It's only coming out now in the last couple years maybe, but really in the last 9 to 10 months, I've been able to define a core set of values that I live by, and forgive myself for the mistakes I've made in the past, and let things go and work through them and actually sit with emotions and experience them. And yeah, I guess I'm just kind of rambling on at this point, but I think that, I hope that maybe there's someone out there who is similar to me, and you've been suppressed, whatever it is, some trauma or thing that happened to you or belief you have, that you aren't confronting a truth that you need to tell to someone, someone out there is the same as me and they've suppressed it for a long time, and maybe you can hear this now and be like, I'm going to stop focusing on the fitness and the material success and the money and the business success and the whatever, the externalized idea of success, whatever that means to you. It could be athletic endeavors, it could be the way you look, it could be something you're trying to build or accomplish. I'm going to stop focusing on all that shit like that's going to solve any problems, because it's not going to solve anything. It's actually not going to solve anything. It's really not. And I'm going to focus on whatever that nagging thing is in the back of your head that you're going to get to someday. Once I get here, then I'm going to go back. I'm going to get a therapist and talk to someone and solve all of this inadequacy that I feel. No. Solve the inadequacy first. Solve the not having true values that you live by first. Are you a liar? Are you a cheat? Are you a thief? Are you whatever? Are you a fucking pussy? Are you scared of everything? Are you scared to ask for the promotion, ask the girl that you like out? Are you scared to do whatever? Are you not acting? Are you not able to have the discipline to do your workouts? Are you not, whatever it is, there's a reason that isn't there. There's a reason the fear's there. There's a reason you're scared, and you need to get to the inadequacy. You need to dig down, figure out what bullshit thing, what parent, what uncle, what fucking friend, what group of kids at school, what things happened to you in life that created the fear or the anxiety, and you need to just root them out now and get rid of them. That is the first step to tackling anything. It's the first step to healing. It's the first step to having discipline. It's the first step to everything, and it's the fucking last one I tried, that's for sure. I tried everything else first. I tried every workout program and business book and fucking, adventure. I went and adventured around the world in search of purpose and meaning and, you know, feeling alive and love. And I didn't find anything, not anything close to having self-love and self-forgiveness and reflection and, you know, eliminating that feeling of not being deserving of love and being inadequate and bad somehow. There's nothing even compares to being able to forgive yourself, forgive anyone who, you know, nothing compares to true, total, just forgiveness. Forgive yourself for the past, forgive anyone who hurt you in the past, and just live in alignment with who you want to be in the future. That's my spiel. That's all I got to say. Like I said, super grateful if you made it this far. Super grateful if you subscribed to my channel and watch it. It really does mean so much to me. I really want to build a community of like-minded people who want to, you know, be the best version of themselves so that they can show up as that version of themselves for the ones they love and just make, you know, this world, you know, make this world gradually a better place. As cheesy as it sounds. Fuck, I was supposed to get gas. My gas light is on. My gas light has been on since I left this morning. I was supposed to get gas on the way there, and I didn't run out of gas. So that would have made this video way more interesting if that had happened. But super glad it didn't. Hopefully I remember that in the morning, but you know, time will tell. We'll see. Might be a hopefully I don't immediately hop in the car and start filming, which I probably will. And you know, I will be shocked when I run out of gas. I will be surprised if I if I just immediately start filming, because I get really engrossed in this. I love talking to you, whomever you are on the other side of the screen. And with that, I will bid you good night.